Welcome to Tony Martignetti Nonprofit Radio coverage of 18NTC. That's the Nonprofit Technology Conference 2018 in New Orleans. This interview is sponsored by Network for Good, easy-to-use donor management and fundraising software for nonprofits. My guests now are Nick Garcia and Jack Hilson. Nick is Senior Account Executive at Mal Warwick Donor Digital, and Jack Hilson is exactly the same. Senior Account Executive, Mal Warwick Donor Digital, times two. And Nick and Jack's topic is the test quest, optimizing your donor's journey. Gentlemen, welcome to Nonprofit Radio.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good to have you.
Yeah, good to be here.
Okay, the donor journey. Let's start with you, Jack. What are donors not getting? What are nonprofits not getting quite right about this donor journey, the experience?
Yeah. Oftentimes when you're in the for-profit space, you're thinking a lot about user experience, right? And where someone's going to go, what they're going to click on, what they're going to see, and a lot of nonprofits don't have the time or think that they don't have the time, the capacity to really think through every little piece. So they'll be not taking precautions or doing tests and just rolling out what feels right to them. And so we kind of talk about how easy it can be and how simple it can be to perform A/B tests and roll them out in your program in different ways. So we try to make it as easy as possible for as many different types of nonprofits as possible.
Okay. So this, so Jack, this does not have to be. I'm sorry, Nick. This does not have to be a complicated process.
Right, exactly.
A/B testing is a pretty simple thing.
Exactly, yeah, it is. And there are a number of ways that you can start, very low level that doesn't require a complex data management or anything like that. So I think we're going to kind of run the full gamut of, examples and things like that, testing for organizations that are just starting out, but also some advanced testing concepts. We really tried to dig deep and figure out some unique ideas of things that folks may not be thinking to test that we've seen in our work with our clients have some big impacts.
Okay, well, we're going to do that here too.
Cool.
I don't want you holding back on Nonprofit Radio. It's not like we're going to describe what you're going to talk about in your seminar.
Sure.
We're going to do it here. Okay.
Let's do it.
So you were talking about the email landing page and digital ad testing.
Yep.
So let's start with email. Is one of you more expert in email than the other, or equally fluent?
I would say we're equally fluent.
Yes.
Equally fluent? Okay, well, let's stick with you, Nick. We're there for now.
Sure.
Where should we start? What should we be testing first?
Yeah. I think when we think about email testing, we generally split that out into the email envelope, the content of the email, which includes the copy, the design,
what's the email envelope?
So the email envelope is the sender name. So it's basically what you see about the email before you open it.
In a preview. So
Exactly.
You're seeing this in your preview
So there's the
thing.
preview, yeah. So that includes the sender name. So, one example of a really simple entry-level test is whether you include the organization name in the from line of your email. Conventional wisdom tells you that, you may want to include the organization name so that people know immediately who they're hearing from. However, for a lot of our clients, we've tested out of that, and we are rolling out with just the CEO name because we show that has had a significant lift in open rates.
Okay.
For whatever reason. So that's a really simple test. Another thing related to the...
I just want to... Did we exhaust everything that's in the envelope? What's on the envelope?
Yeah, so
I
there's...
make sure we hit everything.
Yeah. So we
I
have
want detail here.
Yeah,
Don't
absolutely.
Do not hold out on Nonprofit
Yeah, so
Radio
there's
listeners.
the sender name. There's the subject line, which is another important one.
Sure.
Constantly testing that one. Another one is the
that preview text.
The pre-header,
right.
yeah.
Pre-header is called.
The
okay.
pre-header, yeah.
Okay.
So one of our recommended tests there is that we've been seeing a big lift with folks who are actually including a blank pre-header. So if you notice when you're scrolling through your inbox, almost every email you receive has pre-header text. Those that do not now are standing out more. So we're seeing, just little
just that white space makes it stand out.
Right. So and things like emojis in the subject line. just things that really make the email envelope pop out in the inbox.
Okay, Jack, do we assume that people are scrolling through this inbox on their phones now? Isn't most email is read by phone?
Absolutely. I think depending on the organization, you could estimate anywhere from 30 to 50% of your donations could come in through mobile. So it's really important to not only be thinking about maybe your email envelope and how that appears on mobile, especially as you're scrolling through very quickly, but also making sure that everything is mobile optimized and works well for those folks who are looking at their phones.
Okay, so we exhausted the envelope.
Yep.
Let's stick with you, Jack. We'll go inside the envelope now to the message itself. What should we be testing in there? What can we test in there?
Oh, so many things.
Okay.
Well, and we talk a little bit about a few different things. So we will go from maybe email format to general design tests, template tests, that sort of thing, copy tests.
When you say email format, what are the different formats? I'm sure I know, but I can't think of them.
Sure,
I've seen them, but what?
Sure, yeah, and it may be going from plain text message to a regular template that you might use every day, kind of thing, to see, and maybe the results of your test between those two things is that you don't get a significant lift for one over the other.
Okay.
And that may tell you that you don't want to use plain text, or it may tell you that you want to use it interchangeably at different times when it seems effective. So.
Okay. I guess use of graphics, embedded video. Do we know about how embedded video does in an email versus a link to click through? Do we have research on that?
Well, it depends on what you're trying to get. If you want someone to donate, video doesn't help all that much. Of course, it may influence click-through, but it probably won't up your response rate very much. It may actually, you may see a decline as far as response rate because people are just trying to go to your donation page to view that video and then immediately leave.
Okay.
It's great for cultivation, though. Great for getting folks to
embedded video. We're talking about video is great for cultivation. I'm sorry. What?
Yes. Yeah. Video is great for cultivation. Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
And I was just trying to draw the distinction between embedded, where you can watch video in an email, can't you?
Yeah, you have to.
Exist?
Yes,
yeah.
it's possible. Although there's specific types of coding, more complex,
Yeah,
HTML5 and that sort of thing.
So it may not work. So you get into technology issues with
Yeah.
versus just providing a link.
Yeah, and it doesn't work across all browsers. And
Okay.
Email
That's the
platforms.
hesitation. All right. So
Yeah.
you got to be very circumspect about that. All
Yeah.
right. Maybe better not to. Okay. All right. What else in the message? Inside the message itself, Jack. Anything else we should be testing?
So design tests generally, it may be, like we had talked about, overall template, but it may be something as simple as maybe black and white photos, more stark kind of imagery, sad versus happy, that sort of thing that, many children, let's say you're a international relief organization and you have lots of folks of single children alone or lots of children together, trying to see what's more effective if focusing in on one individual is going to actually pull at the heartstrings of your donors.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else in the email itself, or have we made our way to the landing page?
I think a couple other things that we've seen valuable in email testing is just the length of the copy itself. I think this is an area where a lot of organizations hesitate sometimes because they have been messaging with a similar length for a long time, and they may feel hesitant to move away from that.
Yeah.
But I think it's important,
Hesitant
especially
or scared.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's not an easy thing to test necessarily. Taking the same messaging and boiling it down from 6 long paragraphs to a really small bite-sized email is not an easy task. However, I think it's an important one because especially in today's environment and just the way people are used to processing information now is in much smaller chunks, right? So we've been seeing, a good degree of lifts with just, testing short message versus long message,
Okay.
just
Okay.
things like that.
What about time of day? Right?
Yeah,
Time you
exactly.
send?
Right.
Okay.
So there's time of day of week. Some of our clients are even segmenting out certain folks that are more responsive to messages at different dates and times, things like that. So there's so many complex options for testing and
Okay.
segmentation.
Okay. Okay. Are we on the landing page now?
Sure.
Are we go to the okay. Okay. We'll stick with you for a minute, Nick.
Okay.
What should we start there?
So I mean, we talked about video for a moment. That was one test that we ran on a landing page where, one of our clients felt like they had a really captivating video that had a donation ask at the end, and they thought it would be much more compelling. And this was at a time when video was really hot. And a lot of nonprofits were using that to drive engagement. So they thought, okay, let's test video versus a static image on a donation page. And it actually suppressed response, video did, significantly on the donation page. So I guess what the lesson there was that, you don't want to necessarily distract folks.
The word distraction was in my mind. Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, the web is so video rich now, visual rich, video especially. But people go there for a single purpose. You don't want them distracted.
Exactly, and I think that that guides a lot of our thinking around landing page optimization too. Is that you're breaking up the information on the page into a very concise headline, a very concise subhead. You have to keep in mind that most people are not going to absorb all of the content, all the copy on any given page. So you want to really think about how to structure the page so that all the information is there for folks who want to absorb it all. But also that at a glance, they're getting what they want so that they can, move on and convert.
Okay. Jack, anything else about the landing page we should talk about?
Yeah, I mean, more to Nick's point, and you brought up a good point as well, Tony, that...
Thank you for that. Thank you. Appreciate that. Little host shout out.
People are on their phones often doing these sorts of things. Mm-hmm. So making something inaccessible in that way, not just design-wise. I say this all the time, and maybe it's just being in the industry, but if I go on a web page and it is not mobile optimized, I will just leave. And so you absolutely have to make sure that it works.
It's so damn frustrating now. I mean, it's 2018. You have to scroll to see so much, and it jumps and bounces and windows or not windows, but pictures disappear. I mean, it's so annoying. I mean, please.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and one test that I've done with a few clients is adding tappable buttons to donation pages or action pages. So let's say you go and there's a tiny radio button and you have to zoom into the page to try to click it, and you're clicking the wrong thing, and maybe it brings you to another page. So we tested...
you end up somewhere else,
Yeah, exactly. We call them fat finger buttons at some points to make sure that, it's easier for folks to decide, I want to give you $25 instead of $10,
Okay. All right, so that's the landing page.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about digital ads.
Okay.
Testing digital ads. Where Nick? Where are these digital ads? What kinds of ads are we testing?
We're talking social media ads, so Facebook ads, definitely.
Okay.
I would say that's where we start with most of our clients, and definitely the Google network is probably the biggest platform that we use for digital advertising.
Okay. How do we test?
Testing with digital ads, there are really two components, right? So you have the creative and you have the copy associated with an ad. So in most cases, we're testing multiple versions of both the image and the copy at a given time, and then essentially combining the two once you have a winner in each category to roll out the absolute best image and the absolute best copy you can to the widest audience. I think that's the simplified version of.
Okay. Well, we can go a little more detail, but
Sure.
but what don't hold out. What percentage of your audience would you test with? How do you do that? I mean, you got to have, I guess, tens of thousands of fans on your page to make this worthwhile.
Yeah, well, I mean,
No, not fans. No, but you depending on the dollar amount.
right,
You're willing to
exactly.
spend. Well, I'm
So
mistaken.
yeah, no.
Okay.
So when we talk about percentages for testing, we usually start with the budget number as
Okay,
opposed
is
to
that
the
Facebook,
audience. Yeah.
right.
So for instance, if it's the first foray into testing and we're looking at a budget of $10,000, then I would say, dedicating at least 3,000 of that to the initial testing before the final rollout would be, a decent amount. So you would want to probably dedicate in the neighborhood of 25 to 35% of your budget to that initial testing.
Okay. So if your budget's only 1,000, you do it appropriately.
Right, exactly. So you want
65%.
you want it to be scalable, right?
Okay. How about let's go back to my erroneous question, but I'll find somewhere it fits. And let's go back to email.
Yeah.
What percentage of your email list would you test with before you roll out the ultimate to the widest audience?
Well, and we actually have a tool for this, and this will work with ads as well. But we have a free tool online on
very
our
nice.
website.
Oh, Mal Warwick.
It's
Donor Digital, or
mwdagency.com/lab.
mwdagency.com/lab. Okay.
Correct.
Just repeating.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of different tools on there, but one of them is a sample size calculator. So you can input the numbers of folks that you have to test from, and it'll let you know if it's how difficult it might be to get a statistically significant result from that kind of test.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can we generalize to how big an audience, how big a list you need to be able to do successful tests? Is 1,000 enough, or is 1,000 too small?
Well, it depends on what you're testing, and
Oh, it does. All right, use the
Yeah.
tool. Just go to the tool. All right. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I thought maybe there were generalizations, but just go to the.
if it's not a drastic test, then it may take a long time to get that kind of a result.
Okay.
So.
Go to the tool. Just use the tool.
Yeah.
Don't pay attention to the host questions. Okay, so now we've got all this data from our email, the envelope, the message itself, the landing page, our ads. What do we do with all this data in each segment? I mean, it's not just as simple as mail the best one, or what do we do with it all?
Right. Yeah, that's a great question, and we give a few examples that aren't as simple as, okay, here's the winner, so we roll out with that all the time, right? For example, we ran a test that was an email design test. So we had a very pared down, text only, no images design template for an email versus the kind of standard template where you have the call to action, photo, etc. And the results there were actually inconclusive, which in most cases is a worthless test. However, the takeaway there for us is that we can use both of these templates interchangeably, right? So, since one of them is not impacting negatively or positively the performance, that gives us two options to choose from. So depending on the message, if we have a very compelling image, then we use that template. If it is more of a text-heavy message or, just something where we want to mix up design versus no design, that gives us options. So it's important to, be able to assess your test results too and figure out, how to use that effectively.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think
Jack.
there are different circumstances for every organization, which is something that we kind of tried to. And people say that a lot, but we try to use a lot of different examples in our presentation to showcase the different ways that these things can go. And really what we're trying to teach is the thought process, right? Like, how can I use this to my advantage? What can I do with these results? Do I need to test again? Where can I go from here, kind of thing. So maybe you test using the colors black and red against using blue and white. And you're finding that black and red is a statistically significant lift for you for click-through rates, for instance. Maybe you just want to roll that out during year end when you really care about getting those dollars in and hitting your goals, right? Because if you're using black and red constantly, people are going to get tired of it. And it's not going to be effective.
You'll lose that lift. Okay. Your description talk about unconventional but practical testing ideas. Are these the ones we're talking about? These don't sound unconventional to me. Am I wrong? Are they? Maybe they are unconventional. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think we try to provide a list, like a take-home list, essentially, at the end of our presentation of things that we've come up with that aren't considered conventional in the world of testing.
Let's start talking about them. Okay, go ahead.
So let's see.
Kick us off.
All right. So in terms of email copy testing, one thing that we found have a significant lift is highlighting the call to action in an email with like the simple yellow formatting, like what you're used to in Microsoft Word, right? Because it automatically draws the attention. People are, programmed, for lack of a better term, to automatically go to that, right? So we've seen big lifts there. Similar thing is increasing the font size of your call to action in an email, things like that.
Really, just something simple like that.
Yeah, just really, really simple things. Another one where we saw, like over a 30% lift in our email response rate is changing the color of the button. Just things like that. Button formatting. Another one that we've been doing a lot.
Oh, okay, last one, because I want to save some for Jack, too.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, one more is making a dynamic button. So you're on the donation page. You select to donate $25 monthly. The button automatically updates at the bottom of the page to say, give $25 monthly or process my $25 monthly gift. We're seeing much higher response rates with dynamic button testing like that.
So is that when you mouse over?
It actually changes automatically when you select it on the page. So the button goes from saying donate or something generic to the customized amount. So it's kind of confirmation for the donor within the process that they are giving exactly at the level that they want to.
And what's the difference you're seeing with that?
We're seeing significant lift on that. I think the last time we ran it for one of my clients, it was a 15% higher completion rate.
So some people, after they click the donate button, some people don't complete?
Exactly.
Oh, okay, that's what I was missing.
Yep.
I thought some people back out after clicking the donate
Well,
button?
it would be after they select the gift amount, right? So you come to the page, and when you start filling out the field information, there is a gradual drop off in the completion rate.
People are having second thoughts as they're filling in their credit card number and their address, and some people back out at that point.
Yeah. So whatever it is, it helps it helps the process along.
Okay, right. That changing of the button after it's clicked.
Exactly.
And it confirms the donation amount.
Yep.
Okay, Jack, you got some?
Yeah. Similar. Kind of dynamic aspect is bringing in ask amounts from an email to the donation page. So let's say, or maybe even highest previous contribution, right? You have that information on file. Maybe it's listed in your ECRM. You have it dynamically pull in from that person's record onto the donation page, so that maybe it selects immediately their highest previous contribution, say that's $25, and then uses an algorithm to go from there and calculate other likely amounts that they would give.
That's the ask string, isn't it? The ask string?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so that's awesome. Okay. You got another one?
Sure. So
right. These are great. It's like Click Candy. Click Candy for radio.
One we've done that's similar on donation and advocacy pages is and also an email, actually, testing the call to action on language on buttons. So you could use a more generic donate now or match my gift or something that you might use across your program generally. Or we've tested that against more mission-based calls to action. So, help animals right away, or, stop Trump or something like that, that actually has increased not only conversions on pages, but also click-throughs on emails.
Okay. Okay, we just have about a minute or so left. So Nick, I'm going to give you the wrap up.
Sure.
Just remind us of the motivation. I mean, there's so much we can test. What remind us of the value of doing all this
I think the value
for the donor, this is the donor journey, right? The donor
Right.
experience.
Yeah, I think it provides them with a personalized path, right? So it makes them feel like what they've done in the past is being acknowledged, and that things are as easy as possible for them. And ultimately, they're here to support the causes, and we want to enable them to do that in whichever channel they choose. And we want to be able to show them their impact as quickly as possible and in as many ways as we can.
Okay, we're going to leave it there. Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
There are Nick Garcia and Jack Hilson, and they are both senior account executives at Mal Warwick Donor Digital. Thanks very much, gents.
All right. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
My pleasure. This is Tony Martignetti, nonprofit radio coverage of 18 NTC, and this interview is sponsored by Network for Good, easy to use donor management and fundraising software for nonprofits. Thanks so much for being with us.